Hey, Dallas, how are you today? I am here with somebody that I really respect in the media, PR space. And she's really, I'd like to call her a triple threat. I'm just going to say it right now. I thought about that as I was like thinking about you coming on, because Leah Frazier with Think3 Media is not just an entrepreneur, and she's very, very, very bright and brilliant, but she's creative and seems like, I don't know how you got it, but you got them all. And she's great. So we can't even hate her for it. So I'm glad you're here with us today, Leah. Thanks.
Thanks for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be with you. I have been watching your response from afar in your videos and everything that you're doing right now to connect people and just be out there and help. And I really appreciate all of your efforts, and thank you from those of us that are watching. Sometimes you don't know who's watching and how you're impacting. So I appreciate that so much.
Oh, thank you. It's been a challenging time, but it's also been, I would say it's been a time of service. So you recognize that there's a need, and you recognize that there's like this black cloud. And so then you just take a step back and say, like, how can I bring sunshine or some sort of inspiration to somebody's day? And so that's kind of the approach that I've taken throughout this whole, just process and this whole virus and pandemic.
Yeah, I see that. I absolutely see that in you. What do you see? Because I know you see opportunities, and I know you're seeing a lot of lightness right now. So what do you see as opportunities for entrepreneurs right now?
There's a ton of opportunities. Again, I think if people would just take a step back and say, just take a look at your customer or your target audience and say, what would they need from me during this time? And then build content around that. Or because really to sell during a time where there's so much financial uncertainty, people are losing jobs, businesses are having to fire a lot of employees or contractors. This isn't really the time to really push the salesy material, more so than create brand awareness. And so I think it's a fun time in creativity just to figure out, like, tap into that innovative side of your brain to say, okay, if people are looking for inspiration, empowerment, or engagement and positivity, how can I tie in my business to those pillars? And then create whatever you're going to create around that. Yeah. And I think you'll be really surprised how many people are just craving that, really on a virtual level. And I think it's exciting. And so this isn't a time to sit back and wallow and be in a woe is me type attitude, where I do feel sorry for a lot of small businesses, small business owners, and people right now. But this is the time to just, put your big girl panties on and figure out, how can I still serve in the midst of this? That then relates back to my business.
And maybe the silver lining when things normalize, whatever that looks like, will be that we have found renewed meaning for what we're doing. I think sometimes we get so stuck in, I think, the fear of sales of, am I going to make it? Am I selling enough? Did I do more than I did last year? Growth, growth, growth. And sometimes that takes us away from the impact that we were intending to make to begin with, or that doesn't grow alongside us. So what are your thoughts about, you were talking about some of the entrepreneurs that that initially went straight into fear, but are now using innovation and creativity to weather the storm and maybe even come out better. Will you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think, again, it goes down to really dissecting that customer. And given this pandemic, the needs have changed. So how they were defined before the pandemic is totally different from what they need. And so it's all about, I have to figure out what they need in this moment right now, whether that's to make them feel good, whether that's to inspire them, whether that's to take a load of stress off of their shoulders. What do they need? How can I get it to them? And how can I get it to them quickly? So even with some of the things that Think3 Media is doing, a lot of it is free, a lot of it is service-based, but I'll be honest with you, we've actually had business come through the door by the virtue of that we built a plan that was servicing the community.
Yeah.
And even with our discussion earlier, there's certain restaurants who were like, okay, I had to let some employees go. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. It's a day by day thing. And then in the blink of an eye, they came up with meal kits. They came up with new ways of delivery services. They came up with ways that you could cook from home that could be fun, but still make your favorite items from such and such restaurant. And a lot of my friends who are these business owners are now, their sales have surpassed what it was before the pandemic. They've rehired. Two that I've actually spoken with in the last couple of weeks have actually had to hire on more because they found this way to shift, but it's also servicing that need that that the customer actually wants in this point in time. And so I just find that to be super inspiring. And yeah, everybody's fearful because we don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know what's going to happen from day to day. But that shouldn't stop you from the basics of business, which is I have a customer and now I have a product or a service. How can I get it to them efficiently and, get them to, buy into whatever it is that I'm doing? How can I serve them in this time of need?
Yeah. I love that. I know you've really been promoting content creation, and I know that is you believe in content creation all the time, but talk about content creation in this moment of crisis and what kind of content we should be creating.
Yeah, I'm a huge, huge, huge advocate for all things digital, social media, podcasting, vodcasting, YouTube, whatever it is, just for the simple fact that it makes sense, right? Everybody has gone from this hustle and bustle lifestyle, Sunday fun day brunch, going to a million events, to now it's like you're stuck at home.
Yeah.
And what is everybody doing from home? They're on their computers, they're on their iPads, they're streaming Netflix, they're on some sort of device consuming some sort of virtual content. And so my argument is, and has always been, well, if they're going to consume something, then you as a small business owner or startup or entrepreneur or whatever should be in the running for that content that comes down their feed. Because eventually, like I've seen a lot of people post saying, I'm all out of Netflix. I've watched all of Netflix. Okay, at some point, they're going to crave professional development. They're going to crave personal development, especially if they're an entrepreneur. And so why not take the charge and pushing that content in front of them daily, weekly, or however often you can do it? And the numbers have proven themselves. I've read so many articles over the last couple of weeks that Instagram Live and Facebook Live numbers have doubled for those who have been consistent and actively engaging in that since the pandemic has kind of, made its way out. Other numbers have doubled it's gone from 20 to 50% more engagement from those who are just leaning completely in and saying, I'm going to post more on YouTube. I'm going to post more on Instagram TV. So why not? Why not be a part of that number versus sit back and say, I don't do this social media thing, because there's only a small window of time to take advantage right now before everybody's released back into the world and it's distraction after distraction after distraction. So while you have their attention, right now it's all about brand awareness. Just put your stuff out there, get it out there.
Content. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. You have an entire side of your business that's geared towards public relations, PR, getting people in media, coaching people in how to get into media. Is there room for that right now? Is that a thing, or is that kind of on hold as we sit in this crisis?
There's parts of it that's on hold, and that's, as we go through all these orders and things, you hear of things that are essential and that are non-essential. And so there's non-essential things that don't really need media and press attention, but there are businesses and entrepreneurs and CEOs that have very valuable pieces of information for the media. So there's still room for PR that could positively affect your business. So right now is National Financial Literacy Month. There's no way and I am by no means an expert, but if I were, I would have been pitching myself as, hey, do you need me to come on and tell people how to manage their finances and budget during this point in time?
Yeah.
I would have created a million media angles from this, pitched a ton of blogs and podcasts and YouTubers during this month. So you still are valuable in PR, just related to this point in time as to how you can actually help people during the pandemic versus just making it all about me, 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 me. I want to be on TV. I want to be, the news anchors and those guys, they don't need that right now. They either need one or two things. They need you to either be an expert in something that they're not an expert in that can relate to the pandemic. So are you a healthcare professional that can talk about X, Y, and Z? Are you a financial expert? Are you a confidence coach? What can they be doing from home? All those things are important. Or they're just looking for positive community news reports or things that they can put that can inspire people. So it's one of two things. So it's still necessary, but you just have to be a little bit more strategic for what you're wanting media and press for.
Yeah. So honestly, if you fit into those realms and you have really good it almost sounds like value-based information, like that's providing value for where people are right now, then the opportunities persist. And otherwise, we're going to have to wait a little while. Yeah,
absolutely. And PR is not necessarily all the time. And I just did a seminar on this, is that it's not always about radio and TV. Like those are the big, Hollywood stars in the sky that everybody wants. Maybe we're talking about content production. Maybe you're writing an article that someone can run on a website related to what you're doing. And there's probably going to be more people that read that than actually will see you on TV.
Yeah.
So figure that out, submit your content to a website that can run that, submit it to a news outlet that can run it digitally. And that's just as valuable.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. In your opinion, how do you feel that business is going to change when this pandemic lifts? I know that you don't have a crystal ball, but I'm just curious on your opinion.
Well, it all kind of depends. For some, it's going to be a total rebuild.
Yeah.
There's reports that are saying that we're going to enter into some sort of recession. So we're not going to see finances the way that we're going to want just coming out of this thing. So there's going to be a lot of businesses that are going to have to rebrand, re-strategize, build a lot of things from the ground up. And there's others who are still thriving and surviving, and they're having to make these shifts every single day to stay in the game, to keep people employed, to keep revenue coming through. But those people, I see them kind of marrying the two, like the shifts that they had to do during this time and maybe what they did previously. And now they've come out with a completely different business model and business structure moving forward. So I definitely see that. I do see a lot more people being more mindful of spending, materialistic things that really at the end of the day don't matter anymore. Mm-hmm. And so if you're in an industry that's more maybe luxury based, or it's, along those lines, they should be thinking right now, how are we going to regain, the trust or regain the brand loyalty for some of these people who are now rethinking their spending habits, rethinking what is life all about,
Yeah. So true.
Those are going to be people that I see are going to really have to have those meetings and figure out, how can we, during this point in time and exiting this, convince somebody to spend thousands of dollars on a handbag.
Right? Yeah, I bet. I was thinking, I never was one of those people to spend that kind of money on a handbag. There's other things I spend money on. She was like,
and I still have them.
You've made the purchase. They're already are in your wardrobe, and you shall keep them.
And I will.
And you will keep them. You are a wealth of knowledge, a true entrepreneur. Tell everybody how they can connect with you and just get a little bit of Leah in their lives.
Yes. So all social media platforms are under the Leah Frazier. So THE, Leah Frazier. YouTube is Leah Frazier now. So all of these resources that you're talking about, I'm putting up there. It's it's up for grabs.
Yeah.
So like whatever you need and what we can think of, whether it's branding or social media or trends that we're seeing, we're throwing it on up there and you watch it at your leisure. So those are probably the best ways to get in touch with me.
Yeah, for now. And then, of course, when things normalize, she's an educator and has all kinds of events and is brought into top companies to lead in all the areas that she knows best. So now that you can find her easily, go find her. I'm always so happy when I speak to you. I appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you for helping to guide all of us right now through this. And we appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
All righty.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye, Dallas. See you later.